there it is. It says we are live for the June 2025 Westlake Charter School board meeting. Welcome to the first board meeting post our first graduation. Board President Golick, you have the floor and the YouTubes.
Thank you. Welcome to those of us watching on YouTube. If you'd like to make a public comment, please feel free to email admin@westlakecharter.com. Please keep your comment to 250 words, and in the subject line, list the item to which you're commenting. With that, Amy, will you please take the roll?
Hope.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Josh.
Here.
Satveer.
Here.
Sally.
Here.
Amber.
Here.
Suzanne. Here. Nurali. And Amy.
Perfect. That brings us to celebrations. Who would like to go first?
Me.
Yeah, go for it.
Did you guys Rochambeau?
They did.
Sally wins.
Hubba wins.
I would like to celebrate summer cooking.
Oh.
Oh,
Yes.
all right, let's
Get
go.
to cook, get to think about what I want to make, get to peruse the cupboards and take my time, and it was lovely.
I love it. I love it.
Sean. I know what Sean's going to do.
I'm going to do what I did in governance. I'm going to take graduation, which, as I said in governance, because this way other people can take specific aspects of it. Graduation was overall awesome, and I will let other people take parts if they like. That way, I haven't like taken people's celebration, but it was great. It was very moving.
I might have used a different graduation picture for every slide tonight, just so you know. We'll be talking about finance, but like, oh, here's a picture of kids graduating. Yeah.
You helped pay for this. Oh, no.
Yeah, right.
So I won't celebrate graduation because I think we did that a lot. I had a junior this past year, and so then the day after graduation, I was like, how was it there without the seniors? But they did so many cool things, like we talked about the video of the 26 kids like running through the banner and then kind of taking on their senior moment. So that was kind of cool, like seniors are out of here, and now here we go. So it was really fun to hear about those stories the next day.
I won't celebrate graduation, but in a different way. Just what a cap on the end of a 20-year celebration event.
Yeah.
Right. You think about the past, 20 years, and this year specifically, with all the events kind of throughout the year, and to have that be like this culminating event was just really special. So again, it was a great year and a great 20th year.
Yeah, I love it. Josh Carell.
Thanks to Miss Hubbard, my thunder is gone. I was going to celebrate graduation, but now I have to go 5th or 4th or whatever it is. I roamed the grass afterwards, and just parents and adults beaming from ear to ear with pride.
It was good.
About the kids, about the venue, about everything. We had one of the best national anthems I've heard. We handed out diplomas. We received accommodations.
Yeah.
It was good.
It was good.
It was really
It was good.
I'm going to celebrate my 6th grader got a spot at Westlake.
Let's
this year.
go!
So 2 out of the 3 Marzak girls will be at Westlake.
Yeah.
And the other one will join the year after in high school.
Yeah. And in the last meeting, I very specifically celebrated 6th grade as an entry point because I think that 6th to 8th grade story arc is such a unique and beautiful one. Our middle school is just so cool. So, yeah, she's going to love it.
Very excited.
You're so close to one academic calendar. Almost there.
3 different schools next year.
Yeah.
Graduation was very cool. It was well put together event, but I'll celebrate the kindergarten Aloha that happened. It's my 3rd one. Maybe my last one, I don't know, but it was fun seeing those kids up there singing, dancing, having a good time. It was a great hour. It was a great event.
It's good. It's good.
I'm going to celebrate promotion.
Oh, yeah.
And thank Amber and Sally for being there as the board representatives, and Amy Rice. But it's just always so exciting to see that pride. I have really come to appreciate how you say promoting class of 2025 and graduating class of 29.
Right. That's a big deal.
And it's funny because I've gotten somewhat, I think, judgmental almost online to the graduating 8th graders because you've really brought home the fact that it's just one of the steps, and even though many of our students were going different places, like it was that moment to come together and celebrate the core values and what they've done here. So I appreciate you keeping that event so special.
Yeah, right on. It's funny because I did a tassel term for the graduates, and put strangely maybe too much thought into the words that came out of my mouth regarding that, because I said, hey, as you pass, from student to graduate, and I say you've met all the requirements of the great state of California, the Westlake Charter School Board of Directors, to receive the honors associated with being called graduates or being named graduates. And as I strung those words together, I mean, being called a kid promoting from 8th grade is a big deal.
It is.
But being called a graduate of Westlake Charter High School, just means something different. Yeah, that's cool.
And to go from one event to the next,
Yeah.
I think really brought home that feeling. It's no less, well, I mean, it is less monumental in a way, but it doesn't feel that way, right? It felt as important as it should.
Yeah.
For both groups.
Yeah.
We didn't, just because we had a graduating class it didn't feel like, to me anyway, that
We
promotion
phoned it in on
suffered.
promotion.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good call. That's a good call. I will celebrate two board celebrations. One is the board election that deemed Sally Hubbard coming to, I know it's on the agenda tonight, to have her be our board member for next year, starting a 3-year term. Super pumped about that. And then Amy Rice, board member, is going to have to step off the board, which is sad, because as you may know by now, she has been hired as the Westlake Charter Westlake Charter School K-8 assistant principal, and I think she's going to just knock it out of the park. I think she's going to be great. And I had an opportunity to go through the list of people who have served on this board in my mind, and then served in administration. As I thought about it, I thought, oh, well, it just makes sense. I mean, you got Lila, and you got Katie, and you got Patel, and and you're like, oh, and here comes Rice. So I'm very excited about shared leadership at Westlake Charter School, and thanks for being you, and thank you to Rice for joining that application pool.
Well, just to tag on that real fast, you and I talked about the pipeline.
Yeah.
I always love these type of announcements because it really shows that we're practicing what we're preaching, or not preaching, but practicing what we're setting out into the world, right? Because here we show how you can participate and how you can grow and how I love that. I always go back to Emily Batten's presentation about the pipeline through our organization, and it might be time to do that one again for the public, just so they can see how we grow our own, and how important it can be, and how often it is great that we can see our mission and our work sort of carry through that way.
I mean, Amy Rice is part of her story. She starts in instructional aid, and she became a teacher, and then teacher of the year, and a board member, and an administrator, and you're like, so if you are working at base tonight, you might be like, hey, there's a path at Westlake. We love that. AW plan?
Yeah, I'm gonna celebrate that Westlake never lets off the gas. I know I've said this before, but I'm saying it because I'm listening to everybody celebrate all the end of year stuff that we did, and we did a staff breakfast the next morning and all the things. But immediately after all of the end of year events, we start getting ready for next year. So kinder assessments started this week, end of year staff, teachers
Yeah,
coming
true
and
story.
moving and in and out, and curriculum's being ordered, and what are we gonna do for next year? And today the admin team started planning for first 5. We just never let off the gas, which is a celebration of our commitment to strangeness.
Strangeness, yeah.
Strangeness.
It's good.
Well, hopefully there's a little bit of a break coming.
There will be. Yeah, we do a lot of stuff coming up, and then we all take off for a couple weeks, and then we come back before the teachers so we can be ready for them. But
Because recharging is important.
recharging is important, yes.
With that, are there any other board comments for items not on the agenda? Seeing none, and while John checks for public comment on the email, let's go ahead and check in with Mrs. Cahigas at the East Commerce location to see if there's anybody there to make comment. Hey, Ashley.
Hi. There are no public comments at the high school.
Thank you. Any emails, John?
There are no public comments in the inbox.
Seeing none, that brings us to reports. Do we have a report from Felix?
We do.
We do. Oh, you got it?
I do.
You go. No, you go. You
No,
do
no,
the
you-
Felix voice. You
Oh,
got it.
I do the Felix voice?
Do it.
I don't know that Felix would be happy about
No,
that.
okay. Sorry, Felix.
Felix couldn't make it but submitted his report. With the close of the school year, WAVE has focused on supporting Field Day and laying a strong foundation for the year ahead. Our priorities this month have included drafting a proposed budget for next year, collaborating with the WCS administration on a first draft of the 25-26 events calendar, and working to fill open leadership roles on the WAVE board. We're excited to share that we've appointed a new Vice President of Business Affairs and are in final conversations for the communications/marketing lead, high school lead, and secretary roles. We are still actively recruiting for K-5 and 6-8 grade leads. In the coming weeks, we will continue calendaring efforts in partnership with school administration and will be meeting with Principal MacGyver to explore ways WAVE can further support the high school community next year. Thank you for your continued partnership and support, and have a great meeting.
Thank you. I actually have a random question. We would normally talk about it here, but I'm just gonna ask it. There's no fireworks booth this year, right?
That is correct.
Okay, just because this would be the meeting, we normally tout it to try to get
Yep.
people to come. Okay, with that, the Charter Impact Committee did not meet this month, so I do not have a report. Josh?
Development met, we wrapped up Big Day of Giving, are starting to look forward to next year. We're not meeting on Monday. We are short on available members and long on summer vacation. So we're going to be probably dark June and July and coming back in August to kick it off and just keep doing it again.
Perfect. And just, that is the plan for all the committees, so just to put that out there now.
Going dark in July.
Going dark in July. With that, Sean in finance.
In finance, we got an update on all things budget, which we recommended to bring back to the board and is on the agenda for tonight.
Governance, similar to finance, met and has recommended for adoption feels weird, but recommended the board membership, committee membership for next year. And then also discussed a plan to revise our policies to bring them, just to maybe tighten them a bit, and sort of the next steps moving forward with our legal counsel to make that happen. With that, can I kick it over to you, Dr. Ike, for your report?
You can, as long as you've got time. 'Cause I got lots of slides. Welcome to June, everybody. Long agenda. I've been here a while, so I'm ready to do some slides. I'll start with some celebrations. I'll do some strategic actions. I'll hit some updates. And one of my presentation segments is esports. So we've got a visitor in the audience. I'll try to move fast to get to the highlight of the show, which will be esports. Let's dive in. Obviously, we're going to start with some celebrations. Before we wrapped up the year, we did have our first ever Westlake Charter High School full-length theater production produced by none other than our drama teacher, Brandon Rubin. And he was very grateful and thankful to everybody who's participated in every single way. People donated furniture. People donated costumes. People donated snack items. People donated their time, their energy, and the show went off without a hitch to near sold out crowds, and very proud to see the Black Box Theater kind of up and running for after school performances. I think we celebrate athletics, often in this room because we're so proud of the investment in athletics and what it does from a social, emotional standpoint for our students. But I don't know that we have that patch yet. And now we do. Our boys varsity volleyball teams are section champions, and that's a pretty darn big deal. We are playing boys volleyball for the first time with seniors when we do this. For the first time that we have 12th graders, we win the section. That's kind of a big deal because I'm assuming everybody who else we played had seniors last year, right? So what a fantastic celebration for our team, for our school, and honestly for the brand. People in the community are like, Westlake Charter, I heard of that joint. Pretty good volleyball team, right? It's good all the way around. So I love it.
Hey, John, do we get to host next year? I saw that it had the Hawks.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't know what we did host a playoff game for basketball this year. We did. So yeah, maybe we do.
I just know, for swimming, Josh, it's very political about where you do it.
Oh.
For instance,
Everyone turn your mic on if you're going to talk. Sorry.
Sorry, that was me.
Yeah, you're good. You can leave 'em
for
on.
swimming, because the section is so large, they have a sort of strategic way to make sure that the travel distances are fair amongst all members.
But yes, I like your
I like your idea, and I wish that were easily true.
Seth, you had a comment?
Will that be our first banner that goes up?
Yeah, we will get a banner out of that.
Section
I
banner.
feel like we've had some league banners already.
We do, okay.
We have some league banners, 3 or 4 league banners already, but this is our first section banner. So it's a big deal, man. It is a big deal. So yeah, I kind of want one of those patches.
Similarly, I'm super
It would look
excited for the
awesome.
patch because at least for swimming, it's a hat. And it's really weird. You said that it's like that patch on a hat, but I
Love
love
it.
that
I
our
love it.
athletes get to decide what they do with their badges.
I love it. I love it. Obviously, we're celebrating, open house season at the end of the school year, right? Bringing everybody onto the K-8 campus is always just a ton of fun and crawling with good times. And really, like, I know we spent a whole year talking about celebrating joyful learning, but I feel like this is what open house is really about. It's like you walk into all of this, oh my goodness, look at what a joyful amount of learning production that our students put out. The 8th grade dance, as I said earlier, the 6th to 8th grade story arc really is one of my favorite story arcs of the school. It does not resolve at the dance, but like all of these little things that stitch together in 8th grade specifically right there at the end. I mean, Mr. Eichley's here, so he talks about the slippery slope from right as we come around the New Year's round on into spring semester in 8th grade. I mean, it just goes the spoken word, and then it goes into the overnight trip, and then it goes into the 8th grade dance. Then you got the promotion breakfast and rehearsal, and then promotion. It's just such a great story arc. Obviously, open house at the high school was awesome as well, and then all of our favorite things that happened. Rumpus in the Rainforest. Was it this room? Where was I? I was somewhere with the other charter school nerds, and someone said, "Oh, my daughter was a toucan," and then someone else said, "Oh, my daughter was a toucan." And so many of us, if you've had a child come through this school, you remember what part your kid played in Rumpus the Rainforest, because we've been doing this play for.
I still have the hat.
You still have that. There you go.
Megan and Brendan Vasquez.
There you go.
Together.
There you go. Right. And what year is Megan in college? First year in college, and you still have the fox hat. Love it. That's the impact of the Rumpus the Rainforest, of the Aloha to Kindergarten, of the 8th grade, all the things we do. Here it is, the 8th grade overnight field lesson, right? So we're walking through the calendar. We got to this point right here. Look at all those kids who got to go to the 8th grade field lesson in really, and I won't mention all the ways that I believe this to be true, but in really a more inclusive fashion than most people could imagine. Like, we make sure that kids' needs are met at every level and in such an inclusive way. I'm really proud of the work we do, and it's hard to take kids overnight, as you know, and we do it in a way that makes it safe, physically, psychologically. Kids go on this trip, and for some of them, they have not been. I mean, 6th grade might have been the first time they went away from their parents, so well done trip all the way around.
And they're intense, putting tents together themselves.
Yes,
right?
And to see them rehearse that out on the lawn out here is hilarious. So you come out of my office on an afternoon walk and you go, "What the? Oh, we're all putting up tents." It's great because it's not easy as a 12-year-old to put up a tent. Yeah. Okay, let me see if the audio's up on this one. Oh no, this one's muted. This is something new that I hope never goes away. We had our seniors jump on the bus and come over here. This brilliantly orchestrated by Abby Grimaldi, our activities director at the high school, our high school principal, and our K-8 acting principal block. They said, "Hey, let's get all the kids on the bus in their caps and gowns and to walk down the equator." And these students walked right down there, and they high-fived and waved to every student, 8th grade all the way down to kindergarten, 1,000 kids, and then walked into the kindergarten classrooms and gave little ducks with the graduating year to the kindergartners. "You're going to graduate in 2037. They're like, "What's a 2037? I don't even know what you're talking about." But what a cool, I literally was like, "Oh, yep, there it is. Yeah, oh, there it is." That was one of the cooler things I think we've done in a long time. So yeah, adding that to the repertoire of the story arc of our school is fantastic. We got our Spirit shirt coming out next year. That's what your Spirit shirt's going to look like right there. You got your core value patches stitched onto the backpack of a Westlaker. I love it because it's going to be on the back of your shirt. And there you go. You'll have a backpack over your backpack. There you go. Typical. Of course, Aloha to Kinder, which is always a slam dunk. I just the other day had an opportunity to sing A, B, see you later. And that comes from Aloha to Kinder. Yep.
Sean, I'm so old that I didn't have that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to highlight that.
No, that did come in after you. I know that's not as old of a tradition as Rumpus the Rainforest, but it's now been
12 years.
This.
Because it started the year after Megan.
Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, it did.
I had it with James, but not with Will.
I thought it started on this
My
campus.
junior did not.
I thought it started here.
just, you know,
Your eighth,
going
promoting
into.
eighth grader did?
Yes, he did.
Okay, there
So
you
it's a
go,
little
yeah.
later than I thought.
Yeah. yeah,
But
yeah.
still, it's
awesome.
like,
It's awesome.
It's now
It's been a while.
Been a while. Yeah.
I just wanted to this was one of the newer things we added that was awesome on
Yeah.
this.
And so as you can see, this slide show is kind of chronologically walking through celebration to celebration, and now we've arrived at the last kind of day of school. We've arrived at the next slide is going to be graduation. But like, I just want you to remember that the first time I brought this countdown out to you, it was so far away. I was in the boardroom. We were goofing around. We made this countdown, timer, and we had 668 days, 3 hours, 2 minutes, 57 seconds to get to graduation. And we're like, that's so far away. And I said, oh my gosh, Kahis, do we still have the countdown thing? She goes, it's at 0. And I said, oh my gosh, take a screenshot. So just like, if you have been in this room for 668 days, not every day, but you know what I'm saying. If you were here when we first put the slide up, good on you for shepherding this school from where we were to where we are now. But I do want to reflect, if you were in this room when we're like, should we open the high school because we're in the middle of COVID and I don't know if it's the right time or not. Look what you did. If you were in not this room but the room on the Pebblewood campus when Jed Wallace, my very first board meeting, a brand new executive director, and he's like, let's open a high school next year. I'm like, let's check
While opening a second K-8. You gotta put it out there. Jed's a dreamer.
But look at where we've arrived. The countdown reached 0. We're here. I just love the juxtaposition right there. And here it is.
Congratulations!
Yes. You just have to see that.
And as always, say it with me.
Yeah.
Let's explore!
I love all the hats! We're not supposed to have the hats. It was in the contract. No throwing hats.
All time.
The graduation, I know we already celebrated tonight, but thank you all for being there. Thank you for participating. Thank you for being on stage. I mean, I'm telling you what, man, if you didn't tear up a little bit, you should check for a pulse, because it was that was a good show. Not just because it was the first, but because, it just, it really spoke to our values. I thought the speakers at both the promotion and the high school graduation were so on point. Graduation was great. Obviously, Westlake Charter High School Field Day. Then we're going to come into, I thought we were going to have the other field day. I love this moment right here. Let's explore. I love that promotion at the end of the year. And then this, some of us get to go to the end of year breakfast. Not all of us get to go to the end of year breakfast. Thank you for supporting us in allowing us to do this. I mean, at the end of every year, there's a day where I get to kind of clean up my classroom and check out my stuff. But before we do that, we take a moment to celebrate and do silly, fun stuff. Last year, we were counting down to graduation, so we were launching rockets. And the rockets, some of them launched, some of them just went, and it was hilarious. Yeah, some of them shot across the ground. So this year, Melissa Grunholtz and Emily Batten, that whole team who come up with themes, had a splashdown. So you got to build a splashdown capsule, and we did the egg drop from the roof to the ground. And of course, every team had a science teacher on it, so none of the eggs broke. It is also where we do our certificated and classified members of the year, so I would like to celebrate them. At the K-8, we are a classified staff member of the year, Gretchen Leonard, who is our fourth grade instructional aide, but she's been in 5th grade. Gretchen's been here, I think, for 6 or 7 or 8 years. I mean, she's been here quite some time. And so she is, she's our classified staff member of the year for K-8. Our K-8 certificated member of the year is Amy Rice. Right, and so Amy Rice, board member, teacher of the year, and now assistant principal. Love it. And then at the high school, our classified staff member of the year is Loren Binger. If you don't know Loren, she kind of runs the entire athletics program. Really, she's the heart and soul of the whole athletics program. So all the success that we celebrate is in part because of Loren. And then our certificate staff member of the year is Ramon Paredes, who is the STEM teacher at the high school, and he is the best. When they announced his name, there were tears because people are like, oh, I love that guy so much. And people do. People just love Ramon. So I think that brings me into strategic actions. Yeah, Hubba.
Can I tag on there?
Please.
I celebrated this at the staff breakfast, but I want to say it to you guys too. Having an advisory class from 6th grade through 8th grade is so special.
Yeah.
And these kids I taught in 5th grade, some of them too, that was the year I came up to middle school, and to walk them across the promotion stage to announce their names, look them in the eye, they're freaking out about going across the stage, and just, I couldn't think about everything we've been through together as a cohort. But when I did, I for sure got teary-eyed up. And then graduation, those were some of my 5th graders. One of my students lost his mom that year, and we found each other on the grass afterward and just it was such an emotional week for me, and I'm like so exhausted still. But it was love.
I love the moment where one of the students, who's trying to follow the rules, walked from that X to over here and shake, and took a turn and gave you a big hug. And I was like, yeah, how could you not? It was good. Yeah, good. Thanks, Hubba. That's great. Yeah, it was a big emotions week. Strategic actions. I think I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. That's where I slipped in a graduation photo.
The blue, I have to.
Yeah, the blue light on the side. It's so
Side
cool.
lights are just
So cool.
phenomenal.
Obviously, at this time every year, I do talk about preparing for the following year. So I'll talk a little bit about preparation for the 25-26. And I'm going to talk a little bit about strategic planning preparation, which we're about to launch kind of into. We're planning for the fall right now. I mean, one of the things is our leadership team has summer work to do. We're bringing on a new assistant principal. Our assistant principal is moving to principal. So the K-8's kind of got that work. The leadership team is working on, hey, what are the big levers we're pulling next year? I mean, we're still looking at the old strat plan, because that's what we're doing, and trying to align our work to that as we all develop a new strat plan. So the leadership team has some great summer work to do. We're working on onboarding new staff. We have a lot of new staff members coming on. I mean, we're hiring quite a few new people, so we're building our plans to onboard new people while some of those people are already like, hey, can I get my classroom? Yeah. Because they're like, hey, I got hired, I'm starting in the fall. So we're already onboarding people into the new year. But the big plans are really planning for the launch. So we're planning our first 5 professional learning series. We got a new content piece coming out. It's really kind of targeting K-5, but it is our K-5 family volunteer training for teachers. Then you have the K-5 volunteer family training for families. And both of those are built into Everest already. And so we'll be launching those in the fall. We're really excited about it. It's in alignment with the board goals of really connecting our families and bringing families back into the classroom. So we're super pumped about that. It's really kind of targeting K-5, probably more primarily around K-3. If it launches in some of the middle schools, like, well, I want to bring people, fine, great. But I think we're going to probably really focus on the K-5 to start it off. Having said that, we're preparing for the that's what I'm doing. We're preparing our professional learning for the fall, and I just want to let you kind of know what we're working on. I mean, we have math instruction for our K-12 math teachers. So obviously all of your K-5 teachers are math teachers, and then you have math teachers in 6, 7, 8. But your humanities and your specialties on this campus will have an opportunity to do different training because the math 6-part series in the fall is going to be something we all jam on in cohorts. And then we have this really interesting instructional design piece. It's designed intentionally for 6 through 12, so it's really not applicable probably for the kindergarten Spanish teacher, but that's a really cool series. So we're kind of probably targeting that in the fall for all non-math folks. Both of those have been developed by teachers in the room. So Everest, when it launched, we've been building it from the admin side, but we stumbled onto a great practice, and that is like grab a bunch of teachers who are really good at the thing you're trying to teach, and then we sit in a room on a whole day and go, all right, if we're unpacking this 6-part series, what can we pick out of your brains? And we found that to become a really valuable way to develop content. So all of this content that you're seeing on the screen, these 2 pieces, are all really homespun from best practices within the organization. So very excited about the launch of those. In the spring, K-5 is going to pivot toward literacy, it looks like, and there's a lot of voice and choice as well, just like we did this year. Do you want to take UDL? Do you want to take behavior? Do you want to take the GLAD series? So there's some voice and choice out there as well. Let's talk strategic plan development. This is a year-long story arch. I'm working on it all summer, kind of getting survey instruments put together, timelines, things like that. So at our August board meeting, I think I'm going to give you a detailed timeline of when town hall meetings are proposed to be, things like that. But today I just want to kind of give you a look. In August, I'll come out and say, here's the detailed calendar. In the fall, it's all about data gathering. So we're not going to make big decisions in the fall. We're just going to listen to everybody, all the constituents, right? Board members, staff members, students, parents, families, right? So we're going to do surveys. We'll be doing quantitative and qualitative survey instruments. We'll be doing interviews, one-on-one and small group interviews. We're talking about having large town hall styles where you go, hey, you're all welcome. Let's get 500 people in the gym and let's talk for a moment, and then let's break you out into small groups and rotate you through.
And that's where you might need board help.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to loop in the board at this point that part of these pieces would involve the board coming, maybe managing a small group or leading a certain potential topic.
Yeah.
However, Dr. Ike, decides to
Yeah.
use us, but just when we get those dates in the fall, to go ahead and put them on your calendars.
Yeah, and obviously, I want the board involved in the large survey instruments, interviews as well as participants, but then there also might be unique survey instruments just for board as well. Really, and then the last piece will be document review, like going back through all the family surveys that we've had for the last multiple years and going back through our blueprint and going back through our old strat plan. Document review is an important part of the data gathering. Once we've done the data gathering, we'll spend the winter producing multiple revisions, and that's where the board will really play in. We'll say, hey, we think we've identified these themes. There's 119 of them. Let's get down to 7, or whatever. So there'll be a lot of draft working in the winter. We'll be seeking feedback from the constituents. So when we find, I think these are the 5 instructional themes that have really resonated, and we'll take them out to teachers, and they'll go, no, number 3 is not real. That's not a real one. Do this, right? So we'll go back out to the constituents, make sure they get some feedback. We'll iteratively improve the drafts. We'll probably enumerate the drafts, alpha, beta, gamma, epsilon, however far we got last time. And I think in the spring, I'm hoping not June. I'm hoping prior to June we'll be seeking approval, but certainly by the June board meeting, we'd like to approve the strat plan because shortly thereafter we'll be moving into charter renewal.
And that's good timing too, because as part of it, you never know. I'm not anticipating bylaw changes, but things that come out of the strat plan, they tend to trickle through the whole environment, and so doing it in May, June ties in really nicely for this being our sort of annual set.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Jumping into updates, they look like a lot, but maybe they'll go quick. We're going to go enrollment, staffing, facilities, family survey, and English Learner Progress, and then an esports update from a guest speaker. Here's some enrollment updates for the 25-26. This is where we stand right now. We expect these to shift, but these are numbers as of today. The 1,000 students at the K-8 is not going to shift. Our wait list is long enough such that we expect to be fully enrolled at 1,000. But we're 147 in 9th grade, 143, 122, 96, which puts us at a total of 1,508. For those who read the budget brief, you memorized what is our budget target next year. That's right, 1,490. I almost said 1,480. I was like, wow, I blanked out. Yes, right. We are budgeted at 1,490 students, and we'd fully expect the 10th and 11th grade numbers to trickle down. They just that's what happens in high school. We're gonna keep pushing on 9th grade through the wait list to try to target that 150 number. We'll try to pull enough 9th or 10th and 11th graders back in if we drop. We have an agreement with the Natomas Unified School District that we can't be more than 3% higher than the 500 number, which would be 1,513. And so, we're right at capacity right now, so it's just a little bit of a dance. Get 3 more freshmen, lose 2 sophomores, bring a sophomore back, lose this, and there's a little bit of a dance. If we open up at 1,490, it'd be awesome, right? But if you open up at 1,491, it's great. That's 1 ADA over the budget, right? It's awesomer. So we would we'd love to be 50. We'd love to serve every kid that we can, right? That's what we would love to do. But we do have a cap, so we have to respect the cap. And it is a fluid dance because kids move, families move, kids come and go, and so it's tough. We can't overload 9th grade and be like, well, let's just go up to 190. Well, then you'd have class sizes of 52, right? So there's a little bit of a dance. Any questions on enrollment? Super duper. Staffing, this is a fascinating one right here. I'm going to talk through it as best I can. I have 3 open positions, K-12 right now. You have one ed specialist open right now. You have a general ed teacher at the K-8, that's a second grade position, because we just hired a vice principal or assistant principal. We have a counselor opening because we lost a high school counselor, and Ms. Luna moved to the high school, so high school's buttoned up, but we're looking at K-8 counselor. I'm going to talk about teacher retention. It's wild how much movement we've had in the teacher world this year. But I went through it and I really broke it down and gave it some thought. So you had 7 teachers this year who took an advancement in their career or some promotion. Megan Odell got accepted to Boston College, an advanced degree, and is going to become a college professor. Amy Rice is now an assistant principal. Our PE teacher from the fall left Westlake Charter High School to become an assistant principal. Although Ja'Cory Ford, who was a PE teacher, is, as of today, graduated from the Fire Academy in San Francisco, and so he's a fireman in San Francisco. So there was 7 people who left for some type of career advancement. You're like, hey, good on you. I can't wish you not well, right? So that's interesting. We did have 4 people that were non-renewed by administration. We just said, hey, not everybody's a fit. Out of 93 people, you had 4 who weren't brought back. We did have 2 people, with 4 people who left mid-year, but 2 of them were like, in some form of crisis where we're like, oh my goodness, you have to go. This one's very interesting to me because these were 5 people, and all 5 of them I love, made eye contact with him like, I love Westlake. I love this place. I don't want to leave. I love my family more. And I bought a house. All 5 of them are in Roseville. All 5 of them have new young families. All 5 of them want to be close to their family. And all 5 of them took jobs within like 5 to 7 minutes of their home where their babies are going to go to school. And you're like, duh. But when I started in Natomas, right, I was the young family member. And I bought a house right here. And at that time, Natomas was the place where people were buying houses because it was brand new. Well, look what's happening in Roseville right now. We're just building. So if you're a 20-whatever-year-old, if you're a new teacher starting a new family, chances are you're buying in a new neighborhood. It's just, as a board, something we should be like, I don't know what we would do. But helping people, settle closer to the school might promote longevity. Right? That's interesting. And then we had 2 people genuinely who didn't fall in any of those categories. Just, just kind of just floating around and took gigs other places. So that's a lot of people right there. That is 20 certificated staff members out of 93. That's 21%. That's up from 10% last year. 10% is kind of a doable target. 10% is below the national average. But 20% is probably the highest number we've ever had. And as I went through the list, while I was not happy about the 7 or the 5, because more or less all 12 of them, like, oh, I love this person. But all 12 of them, I kind of went, well, yeah, I see it, So I don't know what that means to us other than like, as you do strategic planning, we might go back to the drawing board on what should we be targeting and what actions or objectives can we take, to retain our best people. I'm thinking a car service to Roseville. A little Google van, pick them up, bring them to school. I don't know.
We just have a daycare on site.
Well, yeah, or buy family housing. We should have bought those houses across the street when we could, Steve. We eyeballed those houses, Stir the pot. Oh, the preschool. Yeah, sorry, I don't have those scars, so it didn't feel like anything to me, but that's right. You were here when we had a preschool.
A daycare.
Oh, daycare.
What makes me ponder, so Davis Joint Unified has struggled with this,
Yeah.
I think, forever, right? Because the cost of their homes have way outpaced salaries, and there's no way it could keep up. So it would be interesting to look at some of the other somewhat small, like it's a smaller district, but to look at the districts in those pockets to see what they might have done for recruitment and retention.
Yeah. Any other questions about this? That's not my favorite piece of data, but it's real. It's something to look at. Facilities, I just want to let you know that we've talked about the lease at East Commerce, and we're making really good headway on it right now. We're collaborating with the Natomas Unified School District on the lease renewal at East Commerce. We had a relationship with a commercial real estate agent named Chris Lemon, who we'd worked with years ago when we were like, where are we going to land if we ever build a high school? And Chris Lemon now has come on board and is leading the negotiation on behalf of Natomas Unified School District and Westlake Charter School, and so it's going really well. We have some positive rounds of negotiations already, and we are expecting an agreement by August. So we'll bring that data back to you as soon as we get it. We have the latest round of negotiation agreement that's been sent out. I didn't include it, in the conversation today, but if anybody wants to come and sit and read through and talk about it, you certainly are welcome to it. Family survey, or any questions on that?
No, I was just gonna say, so we're not planning a meeting in July. The board calendar will be adopted later tonight. We don't anticipate needing to have one for this, but if we did by chance need one, just know that this is probably the only reason that one of us might reach out to you to get a meeting on the calendar.
Yeah, if we need, our lease doesn't expire until the end of September, but if for some reason we needed to sign this lease prior to the August 12th meeting, we could call a special, and we would need a quorum for that.
But we think that's unlikely. But I just, again, in full transparency, want to make sure that board members are aware it's at least possible.
Yep. I'm gonna try and race through this, but I love doing it because it's data, and I took a couple different new stabs at the data. So bear with me. Family survey. I did develop a more in-depth board brief. I threw it in there just today, so you probably didn't see it. I threw it in there late. I'd love for you to give a read through it because it's interesting. I did utilize some artificial intelligence to do some qualitative coding over multiple years of data, and what I found was really interesting, but I acknowledged it in the brief that it was AI generated, and so some of it was manually validated and some of it wasn't. The stuff that's on the screen here is obviously validated. So remember, we have 5 questions. Each question gets a 1 to 10 scale score and an optional narrative. These are the 3 surveys that we took in the 21-22 school year. I'm starting here and going forward 4 years so you can kind of get a look. This is the average for that year. So question 1, 3 different surveys over that year, and here's the average. So I'm going to go look at annual averages this year rather than looking at it row by row. So there you are in 2021-22. I'll fast forward all the way down to this year's averages. A couple things that I notice as I look through it is like I see the averages falling, but I also see the N falling. So back here we had 1,140 students. That's freshman year right there, right? And now we have 1,500 students. We've increased our number of students by 400, and we've reduced our number of survey takers by 30. So I thought that was interesting. Here across the bottom, you can see that from that year to this year, you've had on average about a negative 0.75, so almost a 7.5% drop in favorability. Now you're still at 8.4, 8.6, 8.2, 8.3. What do I recognize about that? Well, with some of the small N's, like this one right here, when you only have 34 people and 3 of them are really upset at you, they represent 10%, and that really, then this score right here has an equivalent value in this average here, right? So it's not really our most accurate, data in that way, but you can genuinely see it trending down over the years. I bring it up because I think it's important to look at multiple year because our strat plan is a 5-year document. We're coming to the end of that 5 years, and the next 5 years, we want to be asking questions that align with the next document, right? What do you value? What is your experience? So I just put the numbers out there. I also put these numbers inside of the board brief, so if you want to nerd out on some qualitative data, you can really look at it. What do you notice? What do you wonder? Anyone
What did we do in the spring of 23? Is that when we had like the Chromebooks out?
I think we came back to hybrid back here.
23?
No, a year, I guess. This
No,
is,
look, 207.
yeah, I know.
That's,
I really think that's what we did. We really set up, because
That's what I
we
thought.
were really disappointed by the winter numbers. And so it was super strategic. But
well, yeah, well, because we had 20 in the spring here, so I think we must have said, let's get better.
I think we had like at conferences and stuff, we had Chromebooks out and the teachers were saying, well, while you're waiting,
Yeah.
can you fill this out?
I remember back on Pebblewood, before you got to go into
Yeah,
there was Chromebooks outside the door.
Yeah.
So yeah.
because generally it's the people who are unhappy or frustrated who are gonna fill this out if they're not prompted.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, definitively, we have more 10s than 1s.
Yeah, that's
You know, so I mean, that's why we have high scores, but there's enough 1s to bring down a small number. So yeah, I wonder if you notice the N is small, if that's what I noticed, then I wonder what happens if you had like 90% participation. I wonder, would it stay at these averages or would it go lower? Would it go higher? We don't know. Yeah.
I notice it's very inconsistent by trimester, right? Like like with NWA scores, right? We have a whole thing about winter
You have a
being
dip in the
down,
winter?
right? There's no, like, if you were to look, right, the years, there's some inconsistency there. But my real wonder is going into strategic planning, how we ensure engagement is higher than those numbers, right? Because we're going to need more participation to have good data to do that plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in some ways, we're going to be asking deeper questions, I feel like.
Well, and such different questions. If you filled this out once, you might not want to fill it out twice. You're like, I already did that. But with the strat plan, I think it's such a different opportunity. We'll have a higher engagement.
Well, then, but highlighting that,
Yeah.
though, too. So
Also, I would, yeah, I mean, I think we'll do a better job of advertising the strat plan work because this just gets slipped into the weekly. We don't do the extra effort of like, hey, we really need your feedback. And what's funny is, as you do the qualitative analysis from call it year 1 to year 4, it looks like by year 4, people are complaining that their feedback isn't being heard. And these are the people filling it out. So there's a slide in like, are you listening? I don't feel like we're being heard.
Is it the same 30 people that are like, I do this 3 times a year?
Right, it might be. And I think as we go back to that strat plan conversation, the interviews in small groups will be very telling. Because, again, this is it's interesting because of the 50 people in the fall who did the quantitative clickings, only 12 of them really gave good, solid, qualitative feedback. So then you go to analyze the qualitative feedback, you're like, people really want chicken nuggets in the cafeteria. You're like, well, actually, it was just 4 people out of the 12 who said anything, right? So it's tough. I do have some of the qualitative, some of the narrative feedback that I thought was interesting. I mean, there is strong support for teachers and for school-wide and very specifically teacher communication. There are growing concerns, and you see this over the years as well when you look at the 5-year data, growing concerns about student behavior and safety. It comes up. That's the angry one. My kid got punched. My kid's been bullied. You guys aren't taking behavior seriously enough. Why? There's a voice out there around behavior, and people's frustration is legitimate. I'm not trying to belittle it, but that one's loud. This is really, I've said this in this room before, but there's a fascinating conversation around the diversity of opinions on social emotional learning and equity work, and it's almost like perfectly balanced. Keep doing it. Thank you for seeing my child and including them. Quit doing CRT. Like I don't, it's wild. So I as a board, you have to know that there's this very balanced, like, narrative out there around some of the work that we're doing. Really mixed feedback on administrative visibility and handling of behavior, especially at the end of the school year as the school year went on. Again, small sample size and a couple of pretty loud narratives, but it was hard to ignore. So it was like, hey, who's handling behavior on that administrative team? The last one is the academic readiness gets lots of like, you're doing a great job, but as always, there's these buts. But my students, the GATE student, I don't think we're doing enough for GATE. I recognize you guys are doing a great job helping students bend the data. If they're struggling, you guys are great with intervention, but I don't know if you're great with extension. If the rigor thing, it comes up. Or the, I never know what my kid's doing. I wish you'd send home homework. It comes up every time. So, you know, I gave you a more detailed brief in the packet. Love it if you read it. Love to have more of a conversation about bringing these themes into our strategic plan work where it belongs. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns on that?
I got one.
Oh, yeah.
Is there one concern for you that outweighs any other one?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's a great question. I mean, I think, you know, I think as I look across all of them, I see the people who are in charge of each of them, and I recognize where they are in different places of development. And so, no, I mean, I weave the tapestry together and make sure that each of these areas is being addressed on kind of the continuum that we believe is important, right? Behavior obviously comes up twice in two different contexts here, bullet 2 and bullet 4. And so I go, okay, maybe because it comes up in two different ways, it's talking about student behavior in the teacher's classroom and student behavior and the way it's being addressed in the administrative team. And so I go, oh, there might be something there because it's in two different contexts. That behavior is something we just need to continually make sure we're, you know, addressing. Yeah. Yeah. I promise I'm almost done.
Can I ask one quick question?
No, please. That's why we're here.
The term leadership visibility, can you just
Yeah, you know,
expand on
sorry,
that
you
so
know,
I-
you're
so I
trying to
properly-
squeeze it all into one.
No, it's okay. I just want to make sure I understand.
Yeah, that was about, are your administrators out where the behavior problem is, or is your administrator caught in the office? There were several comments about that, but there was also availability to parents.
Okay.
I called, I left a message, I felt like I didn't hear back from the principal, right? I mean, I think you're always getting called back from the dean, but I read the data to be like, okay, there were some gaps in return calls, visibility outside, those types of things.
Okay.
Yeah. Any questions on that? Super. English learner progress. You'll remember this chart right here is about the LP, the English learner project, English learner progress indicator. And remember, we're always trying to get students to go at least one level up or a half level up on their LP scores. Now, you'll remember back in 2022, we knocked it out of the park. 57% of our kids made growth, and that is considered a high mark, but it was no previous year change. That was the first year we collected the data. And we knocked it out of the park, which was really smart because the next year we didn't, and then it was really bad. Because if you go from high to low, that's not good, anything but your blood pressure. And then, but because it was significantly declined, we were red. Now, if you were a low, but just maintained low, you could be a yellow. But if you're low and you significantly decline, you're a red, so we were a red, and we all had a little yolk on our face going, oh, we didn't see that coming. We did so well that we set ourselves up for such failure the next year. Okay, great. So we hoped for better progress, and we got worse. We got lower. We went from 44 to 42, and our color got better, because that's California. That's awesome. You grab your Skittles. So, right? But, right, so you went from low, red, and went lower, so you're yellow. Makes a ton of sense to me, because I got a degree. So, at this point, you will recall, in this room, we came forward with a plan. There's your flashback there. We're like, hey, we're going to launch GLAD inside of Everest. We're going to do some ELD work in the middle school. We got a plan for the elementary school. We got Reese Ornelas and Jessica Ashby. They got a plan for the high school. We're bringing on QTEL, which is the middle school, high school version of GLAD. We're going to do some stuff. I hope it works. So here we are. We've just got the data back. We went from high to low to low to very high, which means we're probably red again. I don't know. Right. So now, which is a total celebration, and I'm pumped about it, and I got to give out to Ashby and Davis and Ornelas and, Hernandez and everybody who's played a part in this success, and every teacher that took GLAD or QTEL seriously and implemented it, because the data, and I'll do a bigger presentation when we get to the academic report and unpack the the number of students who are now qualified for reclassification in just 1 year, I mean, 612 is 29% in a single year. It's a third of your EL kids are able to reclassify in 1 year. It's pretty significant. But we went very high, which is a significant increase. So we're predicting a blue. Super cool. I just want to, you know, I'm a little dramatic. Yeah, it's super cool. So, yeah, of course, what does that do? Next year. That's the first thing. Katie Davis is like, I got great news. But if we've seen anything, you know, any shift in the data but if we could maintain, you would stay green at least, you know.
And this is the only one, right, where you can go like from yellow to blue in a single year? Because I feel like everything else is sort of.
Yeah, this one's pretty roller coastery, but.
Then you buy your row and then you jump. Yeah, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
This is great that we can go blue. Don't get me wrong.
This is the most volatile number because you're not going to see that type of jump in CASP.
No.
English language arts isn't going to, you know, but these are the number of, these aren't performance levels. This is the percentage of students who made growth. Such a different indicator than a performance level. Did you have a question, Sally?
As a comment, just I'm so proud of the work that our school has done through so many different avenues, and we focused on this population of students and focused on it with research-backed, good quality strategies, and bam.
Yeah. Well, and I'm obviously not the biggest fan of the dashboard. I make fun of it and all the things, but that red did motivate a change that is impacting students greatly. This student population is getting what they need and deserve because we're like, oh, we got a red. What are we doing wrong? So, yeah, it's good. Questions, thoughts, or concerns there? Let's roll, people. I have an update being brought to you by none other than our very own Roland Eichley. Let's talk a little esports. You want a clicker, brother?
Right, though, with the little headphone?
Yeah, that's a great Everest right there. I really should have brought the headset. Would you click the button and get the red light? There you go. You're good now.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Good to go.
Oh, it's not for us to hear you, it's for the YouTubers.
Yeah, but Kahigas is monitoring the mic, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was more for her.
Yeah.
Let me get my little notes open here. And hi.
Hi.
Good to see you all. If you don't know me, my name is Roland Eichley. I'm right over here in F105. I teach 8th grade humanities here at Westlake. Just rounded up year 9 as an explorer. But not only am I a staff member, I'm also a client. I have 2 kids that go to school here. Grace will be entering 8th grade. She has 50% chance of getting me next year. Keep her in Ho's class. And then Quinn, who is going into 5th grade next year as well. Both who have done their entire educational career here at Westlake. And I'm here to talk to you about esports today. And I wanted to kind of get the whole board together on why we evaluate here. And then also talk about our little 4-year journey we've taken so far, and then kind of pitch out to you our vision for future growth. So I was like, next slide, and then I realized I have the slide thing.
Is it
Because it's kind of jinxed in here, I'm not gonna lie.
the button on the right? No?
Well, have you turned it off and turned it back on again?
No, I hadn't, but yeah, you should, yeah.
It's the right button here on the side?
Yeah, that's what I thought. You push it in, like a squeeze. No?
No, sir.
Or you just go, and I'll forward it.
It's kind of like Twizzlers. All right, so here's the thing. Esports, if you don't understand what it is, which I did not upon starting this whole journey, competitive video gaming is the easiest way to sum it up. But we are doing far more than that here at Westlake. We are building community, we are building connections, and also potential careers through competition. So let's talk about why. Now here you have a picture in our F105 here in my room where we have 6 Nintendo Switches that are always laid out ready to go. They kind of sit on the side of the room ready to be brought to life after school during our competition. And this is a group of middle schoolers this year who are competing. As you can see, the center student there who is jumping for joy over a victory over one of our gamers against another school. I believe that one was down in SoCal. And what's really cool is that we play kids from all across the state, and at the middle school level, play kids from across 6 different states, which is, I think, pretty darn sweet. Now, here is what I want to bring to you. It's hard to see on this one here, so I'm glad I brought my notes to kind of bring it to life. I think that College Esports, which is a local business organization trying to bring collegiate esports to the forefront, have nailed it here with these 4 cornerstones. Because the thing is, just by having an esports program does not guarantee any of these cornerstones, which are competition, community, education, possible careers, and entertainment as well. Those come through intention and putting those into practice in your program, which are very much our cornerstones and our intents here at Westlake. And so when you get to things like competition, those, like when you get kids competing, it encourages the idea of growth. It challenges them to push themselves forward and to get better. When you have things like community, that's building relationships. That's like a sense of belonging. That is also growing a network of friends and other people like you who share similar interests. When we get down to things like education, possible careers, I have a slide for you in just a few more slides. Maybe you don't even understand the intense amount of possible careers that a kid could find as a passion through just in this realm of esports, so I'll hold off on that till I get there. But aside from that, though, with the careers, not only could it lead a student to finding a passion, but also getting experiential experience or training on the job. So as they go further into high school or through high school and into college, they've already had their hands on in this thing that they've already found passion with. And then also entertainment, I think also just kind of boosts engagement. So there's some data that's coming out nowadays. NASEF, which used to stand for the North American Scholastic Esports Federation, is now the National Alliance of Scholastic Esports Federations. They team up with CIF, our California governing body organization that ordains all high school sports and makes kids eligible for scholarships and other things. It's through NASEF that they've been pairing since the beginning of esports started here, or at least when we started our 4-year journey. And what they put out is this, that through actual, is it, I can't see the slides. What's the, is it IRB? Yes. Is the, yeah. IRB approved data that they have been collecting essentially proves that esports is actually helping kids grow in the things I was just speaking about in those cornerstones on the last slide. Kids are finding community. They are finding careers. They are doing better with their SEL. They are going and improving through competition. But also some data over here on the social emotional learning side, these other soft skills that we love to embed so much here at Westlake into our students is happening through our esports program as well. There's also some different school districts across the western region that have been putting out data. This is the Moreno Valley Unified School District. Their chart on the left, I say take it with a grain of salt because they're not really showing us enough here, but what they're claiming is math scores went up in esports players as opposed to the rest of their student body. I don't know how I feel about taking that one full tilt, but what I do want to point you to is the attendance boost. Yeah. What they're seeing is kids who play esports are typically these kind of kids who don't normally find themselves on teams and don't find themselves engaged or connected to the school, and therefore their attendance does not have much oomph to it. But when kids start having a reason to show up to school, like I can't play if I didn't come, they begin showing up. And that is something I have seen myself here at Westlake as well, which I'll actually share with you in just a moment. Albuquerque Public Schools, which fascinating. Albuquerque is kind of like this hotbed of esports right now. It's the hub of our middle school league that we play in. It's where it all comes from. They're pushing out some interesting data. And really what's like their big push here is that over half of the kids in Albuquerque who played esports were not involved in a school activity of any kind before entering esports. And I'm finding that to be true here based on the just the parent emails I get from the people that I catch at graduations or other places. It's these, my kid has never been on a team before.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for providing this opportunity, throwing a jersey on them and making sameness and being a part of a thing. It's really kind of cool, and especially the gamer community who are not so great about winning or losing. They can tend to be very solo and toxic, and so to break them of those things in their teamness has been wonderful. And just also they're pushing out other data to show that these things that we're talking about, cornerstones, are definitely improving in kids who play esports, where they're making friends, they're improving their sportsmanship, and that data comes from the players' own self-reflections of I think I've gotten better in these areas, which I think is pretty cool. All right. There's also some studies going on, and it turns out red was not the color to choose for this slideshow because you can't see anything. But this was another big study that was released, done in conjunction with Riverside School District down in Southern California, or Riverside County, I should say. And they are another hotbed of esports, where it's showing to improve all these kinds of crazy amounts of skills. And I can't read the slide for the daylight on me, so we'll just click through. Now here's the career paths I was talking about earlier. This here breaks down, I think, 8 different categories of ways you could go into esports professionally. Notice that being an actual player is not the main thing you see here. It's actually really hard. In the pro esports era, it's fascinating. A player's prime age is 21 to 25, and then you age out because of the eye-hand coordination needed to compete at such a level. We just deteriorate as humans, and it's hard to do that. However, to continue on as a broadcaster and get into broadcast media, there are all kinds of jobs there that are definitely sought after. Or even to the IT side of things and just networking machines together. If you ever go to an esports event, there are as many humans buzzing around working as there are players and participants actually going through that. There's the marketing side of things, the social media side, all these different things that students could be finding a passion in just by participating in this after-school event. Cool. All right, and then here's our impact at WCS. And in putting the slideshow together, I realized I should probably be better historian along our journey here because these are things that come out and have hit me personally as we've done this. And before I even share those, I'll back up and say this started 4 years ago, and we're going to get to those slides. It was Emily Batten, who was the principal of our brand new high school, and she tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, with the money that we had to build the high school, I bought a bunch of PCs. I want to do this thing called esports. I want you to apply for the coaching job." I'd never heard the term. I've been a lifetime gamer, but I like to play Mario on my couch. And so, I applied, and it's probably the best thing that could have happened at the time it happened for me personally. As much as we talk about the impact for our community, it was at a point where I myself was just at an all-time low with this profession. I was ready to step out, and esports was a place for me to go and have fun with kids again. It was a place for me to do what I love to do in the classroom, which is slowly iterate and build and slowly make things better. Say, we're going to start here. Here's the goal. How can I constantly do this? And as the world leveled out and I leveled out, I found myself back at an equilibrium with my own profession, and I'm happy where I'm at. But if it wasn't for esports, I don't know that I would have made it through. My child has never been on a team before continues to be a thread from the adults who we've impacted. And it just melts my heart into one big giant ball of emotion. There was one student who I believe might have actually been a student of a board member here today. Said I wasn't going to come to school today, but I didn't want to miss esports. And then there was one, I'm not pointing fingers. But I think it's a testament to the attendance data that we see, is that these kids who were not connected with the school community prior have found a home and they want to be a part of it. And then also there was, as we brought in middle school, and again we'll talk about this, we talk about the journey we've taken, one kid is just our first competitive moment in middle school this year. We're playing other teams, and he just goes, "I'm definitely going to the high school to be on the team." He's just so into this moment. And so it's just it just tells me that we're doing the right thing. All right.
So good.
So our growth, 2021 school year is when Batten tapped me on the shoulder. We had 6 gaming PCs. A bunch of kids showed up. It's COVID era. We have our masks on. And we have 5 to 6 freshmen that kind of came in. And then really the underrated, unseen hero was Nico Corving that year. Nico shows up, and we're playing a game called League of Legends. I've never heard of this game.
Right.
If you've never heard of it, I'm going to summarize it as it's capture the flag in a computer space, 5v5. Like, I'm one of 5 people on the field, and we need to take down the other opponent's flag or their base before they take down ours. It is such a complex game. Such a complex game, and it wasn't for Nico, there's no way we would have learned this game. And it allowed me to actually work on clerical and administrative and other tidy stuff to build this program up. We did not compete because we started a little late. We didn't know the season, didn't know all the things, but we definitely got in there and figured out what we wanted to do. And then we started the next year, 2022, where we purchased 6 more PCs, so doubled our capacity for players. But really what that allowed us to do is have like an A team and a B team, but the team grows to 12, so we actually keep it at 1 team with some alternating shifting, because if you have 2 teams and if one person doesn't make it, then we forfeit. It's the whole thing. But what we did is we formed the stream team. And that's where the broadcast media started showing up, where we have a team of kids who came in and kind of found their own rules. One person just loved to sit on Twitch while we streamed the shows and moderate comments, which were maybe 6 total in the whole year. But she just sat there and loved it. Like, that was her thing. It's like a dream come true for her to be a Twitch mod. Other kids who just wanted to be IT. They didn't want anything to do with the streaming, but they were there, and they always brought their little tools, and they always wanted to wrench on the computers. And I was like, fix it, make it happen, let's go. And they did. They were so good at it, and they were always wiring stuff underneath the desk, doing things, having fun. And then we had 2 kids who were streamers who sat there and did the stream, and they loved every part of that. We started off in CIF Division H, and in League of Legends, they base your division letter based on the skill of your team, starting with A at the best. And I want to say there's only 1 division below us at that point. We make the playoffs, but again, in Division H, most of them make the playoffs. It wasn't as big of a deal. But then we go ahead and we started piloting at the end of the year, middle school. We bought 2 Nintendo Switches and put them in F105 and started to see if we could start building a pipeline to where we could reach even maybe down to 4th grade all the way through 12th grade. So in that first year of actual competition, we have about 12 high school students who engage in some kind of competition against students from another school. And you'll see there's our middle school team down there in their little jerseys. They were so pumped and fired up. We had some pictures up there in the high school with our double wing of 12 PCs. All right. Then we get to 2023, 2024. Mr. Coulter starts volunteering, starts showing up. Turns out he's a league nerd and like just wants to come hang out. And I'm like, hey, man, you want to join the team? So he just hangs on and volunteers as assistant coach, kind of proves his worth. Our League of Legends team moves up to Division G the next year, a nice little bump and upgrade. We make the playoffs. 4 more Nintendo Switches get added to the middle school, and we add in Mario Kart 8, and we grow to 30 players. We did this kind of cool creative thing where elective was the team. And the team would show up and do their work because the Mario Kart was asynchronous, and they just had to submit time and evidence for their best thing. We take first place in our first run of this whole situation, and we have coaches reaching out from multiple states, being like, "Who are you guys? Where did you come from? And how did you do this year 1?" I'm not sharing my secrets, but we have now 40 middle and high school students in the following year who are competing real time against students from other schools through esports. All right. Cool. And then 2024, 2025, Coach Coulter takes over at the high school for League of Legends, and then I move over to here with our Switches and launch our Super Smash team in high school, which is a CIF regulated or approved title. And we have enough interest where we open up a varsity and a JV team. And then we add Super Smash as well at the middle school level. We continue with our Mario Kart 8, which again we took first place. About 85 high school and middle school students this school year participated in competition in esports to some capacity, which is massive growth. Keep going. Also other events we've attended. We went to what was called the SESI College Esports Tournament that happened at the Golden One Arena. That was a cool event for us to go watch college level play, and we were just watching as spectators. We got invited to go to that. And then in 2024, in fall, we were invited by NASEF to come attend an event at the Cal Expo. That was a college level event, but they wanted to run some high school level and even middle school level events. Our name definitely popped up as a local school to invite in. We went, we took our League of Legends team to finals that day. It ended up being a 12-hour day because you start and you just keep playing until you lose. And we went all the way till closing time. Our middle schoolers performed really well. It was a good, really fun time. And then what else do we have here? The Western Regional Tournament. Yeah, we're good. All right. So yeah, we're kind of cooking. We're having a good time doing all the things. Now, I'll tell you this slide, take it with a grain of salt as well. It was put together. This is my pitch that was given to the athletic department and Dr. Ike. As like every year, I'd go and find them and give them if money didn't matter, here's how I'd love to grow. We're still hashing out what we want to do for our vision, so take it with its grain of salt of where we actually land. Because here's the thing, one of the staff members you saw as leaving to go be closer to family was Mr. Coulter. And so he, in his vision for how he was going to grow, had to be pulled back and had to reassess and do some things, but we still have some ideas. But really what we're thinking about is that our League of Legends team is sunsetting, or they have sunset. Majority of those players started as freshmen that first year, and they graduated. And there just isn't interest, and I could go down a long rabbit hole about that game, and just its interest in general in the esports arena has been dwindling anyway. And so with that, we're like, well, where do we go? Any other team-based option at the PCs is a very violent situation. A lot of those games at the high level, I don't think aligns well with who we are as Westlake. And so upon discussion, we're like, hey, but they do offer Mario Kart at the high school level in a team-based fashion, not the asynchronous time trials that they do at the middle school level. So next year, what we're hoping to do is continue with our Super Smash team, but pivot all to Nintendo Switches and offer a Mario Kart team as well. And it can continue with middle school with Mario Kart and Super Smash, which is kind of nice that it consolidates the two games into the whole pipeline as well. It sticks us with Nintendo, which is cheaper, and I think just aligns more with Westlake as a vibe. And Mario's not threatening, right? And when he gets hit with a turtle shell, he gets back up and continues down his path. Waluigi, maybe a little threatening. I don't know. Am I gonna win? And anyway, so that's us. That's where we've been, why we do it, why we want to keep doing it, and why I love it so much. I will yield the rest of my time to the panel if you have any questions or comments.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. That's what we needed to hear. Team, do you have questions, thoughts, concerns? I'll let Josh start, then we'll go to Sally. So Josh is really the reason we asked that role and come in. Josh, what do you got?
Would you go into a little bit, because one of the things I really love is how we can keep the intramural feel of middle school and include full inclusion with how you set up the teams each week and how that process is to guarantee that everybody has a chance to play. I think that's great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I didn't go into depth on that. Yeah, so at the middle school level, the hack that I found that works really well for us, most schools, the traditional setup is you got 4 kids, 5 kids that show up after school and they're part of the team and they play every week. I wanted to when I put out the initial survey of who wants to, out of 350 middle schoolers, 220 wanted to be on the team. Right. And so how do we maximize? There's only so much we could do, and that's where the elective piece came in. And so what I have done is I've learned that by scanning the rule books, I can my roster does not have to be the same each week. When we go to compete, it does not have to be the same 4 kids. And so I bring in the top 30. I fill in a class size of 30. We have tryouts, and the top 30 make it into the elective. Each week, we do in-house competition to see who will make it to the team the following, for that Thursday or whatever. So there's always a buzz going on. There's always a chance to make it to the top 10. We did that in the fall, but then in spring, what I did is I went ahead and opened up 2 teams instead of 1. So now there was double the chance to make it onto the, it's that iteration that I talk about, the idea that okay, we did this with 1 team, but now that I have 30 kids of 1 team, why don't I have a second team playing? And it's a little chaotic when they or trying to queue up and do the things, and the coach is, emailing me and doing the things. I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's powerful because now instead of 5 kids in the room, there's 10 kids in the room competing. That means a third of the middle schoolers each week have a chance to compete. So is that what you were?
That, and also in addition to, there's no rankings. If I'm not mistaken, you kind of pull numbers out of a hat, or they all have different numbers, and then you challenge your way up.
Oh, so
that's the
that's another
that's the tournament. That's cool.
The top, and I'll let you explain, they're not number one every week. They could be.
Correct. Yeah, everyone starts fresh.
Their way up.
Yeah, each week is a brand new start. I would eliminate the stats from the week prior so that everyone starts at the same level. There's been some other. I've played with different versions of how to find our top players each week. One was a number system where you randomly get a number, and you can challenge anybody that is a higher number than you, or was it
lower
number than you? Lower number than you. If you win, you keep your number. But if you lose, you have to swap numbers, and so they would get pumped down. But then you also record your wins and losses. And so, because if I got number 30, the highest number, I'm not challenging anybody. I'm just going to hold on to that. I'm going to go to competition. But someone with a lower number but more wins than you could override your number. Which, it was this complicated thing. I still have the numbers in my room. It was fun, but then it got stale after a while. And so then I opened up just brackets. Where, like, on the TV, we'd have a system of brackets, and the kids would see their matches. They'd go find their opponent. And that's where we teach the good game always, where every match you always have to end with a handshake or a high five or a fist bump or something. And then they would just go and have their matches and report the scores, and it would be based on just win-loss records each week.
Sally, do you have a question, thought I could say?
I eat lunch with you every day, and I did not know the scope of all of this. This is amazing.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
It's so cool.
It's quite,
I
I'm
popped
proud of it.
into one or
Thank you.
two of the esports matches this year, and I'd love to go to more next year. The energy in that room when they're competing is so high up
So
to
high.
the ceiling. You just stand out of their way and let them do their thing, and you just smile the whole time.
Thank you.
Other questions, thoughts, or concerns, comments, Steve?
One quick comment. So thank you for the call out to Nico, by the way. Mr. Eichley was Nico's teacher many, many years ago, so I think your participation in his life is a direct reflection of him coming back and helping him out. So thank
Right
you
on.
so much.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
Hope?
My question's really random, and I could ask you offline, but I'll just ask you in this very public way. So I bought myself a Switch 2 for my birthday.
I got one too.
Yeah, so that leaves me with a Switch 1, I'm gonna call it a 1, at home.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something I could donate to the school that you would find use in?
I don't know the ins and outs of whether or not you can donate it, but if you can, we most certainly could find use
Okay.
for it.
Then maybe I will work with your CBO to see if there's a way to do
There
it.
it is.
Love that.
Right
Thank
on.
you.
Other questions, thoughts, concerns? Yeah, Sat.
Do you guys play sport games at all, or is it just Mario?
No. So as far as what CIF, we here's the thing. There's 1,000 games out there, and there are a dozen leagues that will wrap up we could play any game we wanted to competitively. They're all out there, but we stick with what CIF is certified because we want our kids to be eligible for scholarships. You may not believe this, but the colleges are offering full rides for your video game
rides for Mario
expertise.
Kart.
UC Irvine, where Nico is currently attending, has an esports stadium that when they aren't holding competition, they rent out the PCs to their students for money, which is a genius move. So we stick with the CIF certified titles. The thing is, with the sports game, they offer NBA 2K, they offer FIFA soccer, and then they also offer Madden football. But the way they structure it is a 1v1 situation. And so we've steered away from those only because it's not a team situation.
Yeah.
Whereas Super Smash Brothers is technically a 1v1, but the way that NASEF has kind of finagled the way that it goes, it is a team-based overall win or loss as they play 1v1s as a team. So we're sticking with the team stuff because we see the value in the cornerstones that I mentioned earlier.
Josh?
So given they can get scholarships, they also have the ability to letter in esports, correct?
That is correct. We actually had some of our seniors.
For other sports.
We had our seniors did letter in esports.
Love it so much. Love it. Sean?
I was just gonna say that my kiddo came home with his letter, which I found amusing and also made me very proud, and
Yeah.
he was so excited. He couldn't even finish his story. He was so excited about everything, to do with everything. So it was,
It's fun to watch.
It's been a great experience for him. And if any of you, I don't need to wax poetic about it, but if any of you have any questions from the parent side, I'd be happy to address.
Your son did nothing but grind all season long. He took it so serious, and it's just fun to watch. And that's what when we talk about competition, engaging kids in this idea of like trying to grow at something. That's a valuable skill to have, and we have to try something over and over and fail and keep on trying to grow. That translates. Like I think back to my childhood as a skateboarder. I had to try to kickflip 1,000 times before I landed one, and then 1,000 times more before I landed my second. But I think it was that continuously effort, or like fail and try, that I bring into what I find is success as an adult.
So good, which is what we want our students to learn.
I mean, one of your slides had grit. I mean, I saw our core values in that, but for me, it was grit that popped.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're talking, right? I always worry, like, sometimes, like, giving that give and take and, you know, having I don't want to call it a failure, but having a setback and knowing how to fight your way back. And, you know, hearing the board over, and Josh in particular, shouting out about esports. Having you here tonight and showing all this, I hope people at home are watching. I'm a little afraid about the number of students who are going to be coming your way now. But the work you're doing with this is phenomenal. And
Thank you.
on behalf of the board, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, on that note, I mean, I would just like to go on record that if you're listening to this man talk about this process for the first time, you haven't heard him speak about the work he does here at Westlake, what you see on this screen is a program that started from nothing, has become like an out-of-control, runaway train of success, but it really is reflective of the way he does everything at Westlake Charter School. I've known him for 9 years. His instructional practices, the way he interacts with students, with staff members, the way Roland engages, it's like this with everything he does, and so it's a credit to you, Roland. But I think what I would also like to say, very specifically on the esports side, is your commitment to the values of full inclusion, that are the values of this school, is something that I walk around with a bunch of pride for, because I say, hey, we've got an esports, you're not a coach, what are you called? You're called a
General manager.
General manager. Yes, we got the esports general manager who believes so deeply in our inclusive practices that you could see them. Like I remember the first year, we're like, we got to have some gender diversity. So let's get a girl in here, you know, and then what's happening?
And we've even toyed with that too. As you walk around the beginning of next school year, notice that in the first 3 days of school, there will be signs up for esports tryouts, but every single human you see will be a female. And that's the idea that like boys are going to show up, but if girls see themselves, representation matters. And it wasn't until we started to put it only females on every flyer I ever post that girls started showing up. And so just playing with those kinds of things. And again, it's like speaks to the Westlake values.
There's also the neurodiversity is reflected in this group as well, right?
Certainly.
So like, yes, I really value your ethic, your work product, and that you bring in that inclusive mindset into this arena.
Yeah, the goal is always how can we include as many as possible?
Yeah, I love it. Any other questions, thoughts, or concerns?
I'll just throw it out there again. If any of you think you can play Mario Kart, and you want to take our team, prepare to be home.
Yeah, it is.
We are number one in the 6 regional West state size. We're kind of unmatched.
Well, thank you, Mr. Eichler. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And that concludes my executive director's report. The best part of it was not me. I love it. Where are we at?
Before we take on consent, can you do a quick check for?
Oh, thanks, brother.
Yeah, the remote really never works for anyone.
That's right. It's not you.
Not even for the tech guy, huh?
I see.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Have a good summer.
I see no public comments.
Okay, so that will bring us to our consent agenda. I have 2 announcements that I need to make before we take up this agenda item tonight. One of them is required under the government code in that the executive director's salary is on our consent agenda for tonight. The increase increase in his salary reflects the 4%.
Microphone.
Got it. The 4% annual increase that was provided in his current agreement already. No other changes to his agreement are being proposed at this time. The second item is related to, and that was item E. Item J, Sally Hubbard will be abstaining from her vote tonight on item J because of the potential income to her.
True.
If that item is adopted. With that, are there any other questions on items A through L? And if not, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Satbeer,
Yes.
Sally,
Do you want to abstain only to item J?
Abstain only to item J, approve the rest.
Amber,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
I feel like I missed somebody.
That's why I was like, wait, no, there's more, but there's not. So, yeah, they're at the end. It just happened to be at the end. Yeah.
Thanks for humoring me.
No, my brain had to process.
Okay,
So,
good.
with that brings us to our first action item, which is a repeat item. We do this one every year. Accept and approve declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
And that is mine.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to follow such an epic esports presentation with the good old Commission on Teacher Credentialing CL Form 500. But here we are.
I think that's the budget leader. Steve's got a lot of shining tonight.
Yep. I mean, there is a brief on it. Probably really the best way to summarize this is that at any point in time in the entire state of California, you may have a credentialed teacher, fully credentialed teacher, who you may want to, say, teach in a class that needs another credential. So in our middle school program, we can have a teacher in there who's multiple subject credential, or we can have a teacher in there who has a, say, English and social sciences credential as well, right, covering the same topics. So say we have an excellent teacher who has an English credential that maybe isn't fully credentialed yet in social studies. We can use this form to say, yeah, this teacher is going to be in that classroom making progress to get their social studies credential met, and they'll make progress on that, and this will help them be credentialed under the eyes of the CTC. So this is an annual item, has been an annual item for the past many, many years. Needs to be a stand-up, break-alone item, can't be rolled up under consent. So that's why it's here for you tonight.
And this helps our numbers. It's not the Danny report.
The TOMA?
Toma. But right, this is in aid of that, correct?
This is indicated on that. So when the TOMA report, and later on tonight when we talk about the LCFF local indicators, talking about the number of credentialed teachers versus uncredentialed, properly assigned versus misassigned, this would be a partial feature of that.
Yeah, and something to think about a couple weeks ago, hiring looked a little bit different than the presentation earlier tonight, right? There's only a few positions that are open right now, but we know hiring may look different 6 months from now, right? So it's always good to have this on hand in case an opening comes up and we need to move folks around or pull someone in.
Yeah, true story.
So, yeah.
Well, and correct, this is kind of in our DNA, starting with something like this as far as elevating internally and growing from within. This
Certainly.
help opens all those doors, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I'm just looking over John's shoulder to see there's no public comment.
No public comment.
If there are no other questions or comments, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to accept and approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators.
Thank you, Josh. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Sally.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Yes.
thank you. Sally,
Yes.
Amber,
Yes.
Suzanne.
Yes.
Okay. Item B, accept and approve local indicators, which I know have to bring
I
up on the
think my
screen.
slides are out of order. I think I put my slides after yours. Sorry about that, Steve. Where are my local indicators?
Right down.
Here they are.
Like, yeah.
Right? Yep, those are them. All right, great.
Said LCFF dashboard, same one? Okay.
Yeah, right. So LCFF local indicators. Remember, LCFF is the local control funding formula. The government said, hey, we'll give you local control of your funding. If you come up with an LCAP, what's an LCAP? That's a local control accountability plan. We'll give you the money if you make a plan. Where will we know how you did on your plan? We'll have this LCFF or local control funding formula dashboard. That's our dashboard with all the pretty colors that turn all kinds of different colors for different reasons. And that says, hey, how'd you do? How'd you do on your LCAP? How'd you do on the state priorities? So what are the priorities we're looking for? They're on the dashboard. They're the academic ones, the ones that are measured by non-local data, CASP. There's attendance, non-local data, because that rolls up through CalPads. So those are the non-local data-driven ones. The ones that we're going to be talking about are the local measured ones, the ones where we walk around and say, did we meet this? You know, these other ones are measured by non-local indicators. So let's look at these ones here. We utilize a narrative response. We look at that narrative response. We locally determine whether or not we met or did not meet. Those are the two standards. It's binary, so you can either meet or not meet. We have met in all the 5 areas that we need to, and so we write this narrative that says this is how we met, this is why we think we met, and then we upload it. If someone at the state reads it and goes, I don't think that means you met, then they might call us, but as of now, as long as you bring it to this body and we all look at it and go, yeah, we agree, that means we met, then we met. So opening narrative right there. This is obviously in the board packet as well. Here is some of the data that we were just talking about regarding the number of teachers who are fully credentialed versus the number of teachers who are not fully credentialed. And this is how the breakouts are on the non-fully credentialed, right? You have 8 on intern and 6 on a STIP or GLAP, like Steve was describing earlier. The number of students who do or don't have materials. All students have materials. Local indicator 2, implementation of state standards. We believe we're doing an excellent job of doing that. All of our high school graduates just graduated A to G requirements met. So, you know, I think we're nailing it there. Local indicator section 3, parent involvement. Obviously, we have lots of ways for parents to be involved here, including the parents in this room who are sitting on this board. And then local area 6, talk about the school climate and utilizing our school climate surveys, including the recent utilization of California Healthy Kids Survey, which we're now done annually for multiple years. You can read about that in the packet. Also, the access to broad course of study. And now that we're high school, this is a big one. This really is a factor, and we are very proud of the broad course of study, K-12 at this point, and it's written up there in the indicators. It is important that I put those on the screen in front of this audience and on the YouTube audience so that people recognize that we did have opportunity to look at them and that the audience had the opportunity to look at them. So now they have been seen, and we can ask any questions, share any thoughts or concerns, and then we can move to approve. Any questions, thoughts, or concerns about the local indicators? Man, not everybody can be esports, you know what I mean?
Before we move though, let's just double check the email.
Yep. Let's do that. Any email? Hit and refresh. Seeing none.
Perfect. With that, is seeing or hearing no further board comments, is there a motion to accept and improve the local indicators?
I will motion to accept and approve the local indicators.
Thank you, Suzanne. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Josh.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Sackbeer,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Amber,
Yes.
Suzanne.
Yes.
Well, that brings us to this thing called an LCAP.
What's an LCAP, everybody? Local control cap.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself, guys. It just like,
It's good. Well played. Well played. Steve, are you presenting this one?
There's no presentation this
Okay,
evening
copy.
on it. There was a board brief. The draft was presented last month. Member Patel had a quick noticing on it that we adjusted. But again, that was it. So other than that, the brief is in the packet. The LCAP itself is fully fleshed out and updated. So I would just seek your approval this evening.
are there any board comments on the 25-26 LCAP? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Thanks, Amber. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Sean.
Here she goes.
You can do it. Do you want us to just try and go in order and see if we can do it
Right,
ourselves?
see if you can do it. Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Sackbeer,
Yes.
Sally,
Yes.
Amber,
Yes.
Suzanne.
Yes.
Okay. Not to belittle all the other items. However, I do feel like this one carries a substantial $20 million weight with it. 21, 20, I'm close.
20 plus.
20 plus. And it's also the part of, I think, the board's biggest role in our fiduciary duty. So with that, I believe I'm kicking it over to you, Steve, to present the WCS 25-26 budget.
You are, and there is a presentation for this one, so yes.
I thought the
Would you mind?
in the
Yeah,
consent
I
was
thought
important
too,
too,
yes,
yeah.
I agree.
Sorry, Steve, I'll find your slides. I scrolled the wrong way.
Can I do the cool?
Yeah, you're,
All
yeah.
I know is, are we getting sprayed with soda in the face tonight?
There's no cola, lady.
Cola, no cola.
But there are other pictures. There are other pictures. I'm saying.
What about that, anyone doling out cash?
You gotta
I
wait.
think there's a money bag tree.
Everybody
Everybody knows all your favorite slides.
Stop picking on me.
That's great.
There
All
are,
right.
there are some new images. We'll take a look at some. Yeah, so we're here to talk about the 25-26 school budget. So we can right past it, yeah. So we'll really start off looking at the May revise. So last time this board met was just prior to the governor coming out and issuing his May revise. It happened the week after the board meeting last month. So let's talk about it real quickly. Governor came out and talked about the state of California's economy, how exceptionally strong it is and can be. It's now the 4th largest economy in the world. Let's just sit for a minute. So the state of California is the 4th largest economy in the entire world. It's a fantastically large economy in itself, right? That by itself presents some potential weaknesses, right? In a big economy, you have some dependencies on things like trade and incomes and things like that. So there are some weaknesses built in there, particularly when things like incomes and stock market and trade get impacted. So there's some dark waters sitting out there, right? But again, overall, the economy itself in California seems to be doing well at the moment. A highlight, with a little asterisk by it, is that both the governor and the Legislative Analyst Office, or LAO, at this particular point in time agree. But they agree on something that's maybe not the best thing. They agree that the state's budgeted forecasts over the next few years are going to be deficited. So they both say, yes, the state is going to be in a deficit spending structure for the next at least 2, 3, 4 years. You may recall last year in this room, the LAO was saying, oh, the state's going to be off by $68 billion, and the governor's like, oh, it's mere $20 billion, or they're way off, right? They're like, oh no, we both agree now we're going to be like the state's going to be in a deficit mode for a number of years. So again, not the greatest place to agree on, but at least they are agreeing. But with that as kind of the backdrop, when the governor came out with the May revise, education was largely spared from any direct cuts. And we'll kind of talk a little bit more about that here in the next little bit.
Oops. Click.
There we go. So the governor proposes to solve kind of these the next year's budget issues through some spending reductions and internal borrowing and things like that. And I added this second bullet point in that since the governor came out, obviously, the Senate and Assembly have both come up with their bills that kind of counter the governor's proposal, right? So SB 101, Senate Bill 101, and AB 101, Assembly Bill 101 are both kind of working their way through the House. They will kind of resolve into a single bill that'll go back to the governor. They kind of negotiate themselves, and then that's ultimately the budget package that will come out. I believe it's the 15th, so this Sunday, when the Senate and Assembly need to come up with their package and need to vote on it.
I think they're voting tomorrow.
Right, so it needs to be fairly soon, otherwise they forego their pay, so they obviously like to pass something before that happens. But again, so we'll find out fairly soon what the legislature's bill is going to look like and what their proposals are coming together. On the May revise front, on the edu side, the governor proposed a 2.3% COLA, which is great. You recall last year at this point, there was a point where we might get 0 and be happy with it. And it came back with slightly more than 1%. So a 2.3 is not a bad COLA. The governor proposed some really large discretionary block grants, $1.7 billion, billion with a B, and a student support and PD block grant. $378 million in a learning recovery emergency block grant. And there's 2 little red asterisks next to that I'll get to in 2 seconds. The governor, though, also proposed to spend out all of the Proposition 98 or Education Fund kind of rainy day funds. So, he's doing some things that he technically can do. If you have a rainy day fund, you can certainly use it, but it's also nice to have a rainy day fund for when you really need it, right? His proposal also includes, pretty good deferral of, $1.7 billion from June of 26 to July 26. So it's a kind of short-term deferral. And again, it's a deferral is a piece that the state has used in the past. So we click one ahead real quick to get to the asterisk. So on those kind of discretionary block grants, we use school services or SSC for a lot of the kind of the base data that we use to build our budgets. And when school services was talking about building our budgets, they did not include or recommend including these block grants into the budgets as they're getting developed because there was so much possibility that they may not make it into the final bill or budget bill when it got adopted. So those dollar amounts are not in our budget, and we will see what comes out when the kind of final budget package comes together. There's smaller amounts included in the SB 101 bill and AB 101 bills, so there's something like that might get negotiated in the middle, and if those resolve, we would see that in first interim, but they're just not in our adopted budget right now.
Steve?
Yeah.
Is it just coincidence that the student block and the deferrals happen to be about the exact same number?
Yeah, it was an interesting number for sure. Yeah. I think more coincidental than anything else. Yeah. On that deferral point, though, as one of the last points on this slide, if we can click forward real quick, we've talked about it at this board level a couple different times. I know in finance we've talked about it a couple different times, but I just wanted to talk about like what really is a deferral, just so we have a good understanding on what it is. So deferral really is a short-term IOU, right? So the state and Westlake Charter each run on a fiscal year budget. So we start July 1st, we run to the end of June. That's kind of our budget cycles on things. So if the state can kind of punt off some of their what they owe to a school by even a couple days or a couple weeks, it kind of helps their budget. It just means that schools or districts, right, or charter schools need to carry what we would expect to receive for that couple period of week until those funds actually come in. Now you can imagine if we went to a vendor and said, hey, can we just like defer what we owe you? They probably wouldn't be too happy, but the state of course loves to do it because it's within the realm of possibilities. So an easy deferral might look like this next slide. And it's just a very simple, hey, going from like, say June 28th to July 3rd, a couple days, right, or a couple weeks. It's a couple $1 billion amongst the state, right? It's gonna be very, very short and it'll be paid off and be done. Clicking ahead one more, a more complex deferral might look like this. And so this is actually one that was in 2020 and 2021, where money is just getting deferred all over the place for several different months. So the money we would anticipate to receive in February, right, wasn't paid out until November, right? So months you're having to like carry what the state would owe, right? And so the state can kind of configure like when it's going to get paid and how it's going to come and how much, so they can like they really play with the mechanics of it all, and it's within their purview. Again, it's not a direct cut to education, right? They funded 2.33 COLA, they've done all these things, but it's just on the burden of the district or the school to be able to manage the cash flow, right? Because the dollars aren't necessarily coming in from the state. So again, it's just one of the pieces when I think mention deferral or you hear deferral, just know really what that means to schools in general. So again, the state has used this kind of tactic in the past. Many years ago, about a decade ago, when it came up, we're like, what is this thing they're trying to do? And it was really new and out of the box. And now it's really just become part of their normal toolkit, I should say. Again, deferrals aren't a cut to education. They attempt to keep K-12 education whole, but a little cheekily, I said, at issue is a whole lot of the money can not come in at some time. So again, you just have to like manage your cash as deferrals begin to happen. And if the state is in this kind of deficit mode in the next couple of years, you might see deferrals become a normal practice in the state. June to July could be very easy. In April, May, June to September, October, November could be very easy for the state to do. Something to also think about is the school has a reserve policy. This reserve policy says, hey, we want to have 4 months of program reserves and 2 months of operational reserves, or 6 months of reserves total, just to make sure we can manage cash flow. You may recall we bought a big chunk of dirt, right? Strategically, it was a great call. We have about 5 months of operational reserves right now, maybe about 5.5 months. So we're right there, right on target, but I know finance is going to be talking about it over the next couple of months, like, hey, let's make sure we're back and we have our 6 months, right? Just so if deferrals come, we can keep our reserves together. We've got cash to manage and things like that. The school is looking great, but again, I know finance is going to take a look at the reserve policy and things like that going forward. Before I jump off of deferrals and actually the budget, any questions, thoughts, anything like that?
I'm assuming there are those charter schools out there who are still in their infancy and don't have large reserves, and they get hit with a reserve or deferral like we got hit with back in 2021, and they could come up short on cash flow, right? I mean, those charter schools don't have 5 months of operating cash, and they come up on payroll, and they're like, oh, we were counting on that money this month, and we're not getting it to that month, and that's how charter schools, without as strong a financial outlook, go under, right?
Sure, yeah, it can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it can compound, right? So the reserve policy is, yes, about being able to cover operating costs and whatnot, but we also can get hit with unanticipated costs, right?
Sure.
That's the 2 months, right? I always get it backwards. I have it backwards. Sorry, bad timing. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, the 4 months is the kind of the cushion for it.
Yeah, and I only bring that up, right, because as everybody's budget gets tighter is when I feel like different costs sort of start sneaking their way in. And so I just say that that's part of the reason why we're looking at the reserve policy is that, does it still fit the current economics of the school? But also, are there other costs that we can forecast potentially coming that we need to plan for?
Okay, so we'll, right? All right, so now we'll jump into the budget, the topic at hand. So John mentioned it earlier, the budget itself is built upon 1,490 students. It's got the COLA built into it. It's got a 94% average daily attendance, or ADA, built into it as well. Each 1% ADA is about $200,000 to the school. So as you think about student engagement and getting kids back on campus, whether it's through esports or other things, again, as you grow attendance, you also grow those other things that are important to the school and revenue, right? So that all kind of plays hand in hand.
Right.
The EPA, or Education Protection Account, accounts for about $3.3 million. And again, that's all in the budget as well.
Yeah, so on that slide, you have 2 separate ways to potentially increase income or revenue, right? Because we're budgeting at 490, but what if we get 495 kids? That's 580. We're budgeted at 94%, but what if we got to 95%?
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. Also in the budget, you saw in the brief, we've got base revenue, wave revenue, but unfortunately last year, 24-25, was the last, at least known year at this point, for Silicon Schools and our Hastings Growth Fund, which accounted for growth. So as we grew, they were providing some revenue for us, but those have since sunset. So again, also not included in the budget this year. Overall, you can see kind of line by line, the LCFF, majority comes from that, about $14 million. Then you've got the EPA at about 3.3. You've got special education funds, other state funds like lottery and things like that come into play. So again, looking to pass a budget with slightly more than $20 million in revenue. On the expenditure side of the house, again, majority is dedicated to certificate and classified staff and benefits. Also includes a number of stipends. I said everything from athletics to activities, because there's quite a bit of activity that happens on the campus. And of course, professional services. We love, Clean It, Lawn and Order, all of those folks who come in. A chunk of that, of course, is the folks we use for Student Support Services Group. If we need specialized services to come in, we generally outsource those because it's more efficient to do it that way. And then, as John mentioned, we're still under negotiations for East Commerce facility, but at least our base contract right now for that campus is in the budget right now. And then that's how we propose to spend the EPA, again, all on certificated staff in the form of salary and benefits. On the curriculum side of the house, Jen Caillou and her team just do a fantastic job putting together the curriculum purchases for the year. You can see it all up there. It just covers so much, right? Everything from K-12 all the way through different elective specialty classes, you name it, it's in the budget. And again, Janet Bailey does a great job working with Joe on the team and making sure all the orders get together and all the curriculum comes in. Boxes are actually starting to come in already, so it just happens very, very quickly. So, and then there's pockets of money in for GATE, specialty classes, electives, clubs, gosh, again, you name it. There's money available in there for activities that are important around campus. On the expenditure side of the house, again, you can see a line by line for certificated classified payroll and benefits, books and supplies, services. Again, that services line is larger because it includes things like Clean It, like Law and Order, like our professional services, like our 1%, our fees to Natomas Unified School District, and those things. But on the grander scheme, again, looking to pass expense side with just slightly more than $20 million budget. And next slide. All in all, it's a positive budget this year. So it's a great place to be in once again. We are at full enrollment, right? So we are a full K-12 organization. We are no longer growing, or at least, out in the 13th grade or anything else at this moment, or looking to do TK right now or anything like that. So our funding really is based upon, the state, what happens with the state, what happens with attendance or ADA, COLA, if COLA is, positive by, 5%, 4%, 3%, hopefully not zero, right? There's a lot of dependency on there. What happens with, deficits and deferrals and things like that. So we are at this kind of status mode now where we're more in tune to what happens at the state and need to pay attention to that. But with that said, again, positive budget, positive cash flow, and things continue to look good. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Just to reiterate, Steve, I know you've gone through it before, but the Silicon Schools and the Hastings Growth Fund, that was funds that we used to help stay nimble. Those were never funds that were used to get us out of a budget deficit or anything like that.
Oh, right, correct. Yep.
That's a good call.
I mean, it's also part of the reason why we didn't include, I assume we don't include any of the prospective grants, because we try as a principal not to budget based off of one-time funds.
Right.
Any questions about the budget? Excellent work, sir. Appreciate you.
Before I ask for a motion, one last check for public comment.
Checking the email for public comment, hitting the refresh, seeing none.
Madam Chair of the Finance Committee, do you have any comments, or would you like to potentially make a motion?
I do not have any comments, but I will move the 25-26 budget.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Oh, Sally seconds.
Hope.
Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Josh.
Yes.
Sapphire.
Yes.
Sally.
Yes.
Amber.
Yes.
Suzanne.
Yes.
All right, we're ready.
It really did not want to turn on for you that time. Which is classic, because now we're at the end of our agenda. We have no discussion items. Future agenda items will be a board workshop, date to be determined. Like I mentioned earlier, we will not be meeting in July unless absolutely necessary. So that brings us to reflection and what worked well or what would be better if.
Esports. I loved it. I think now, hopefully you guys can kind of feel a little bit of the vibe, but I just think he's done such a wonderful job, and thank you for setting that up to have him come and share that with us, because I think it's just something that we continue to be really good at, and it's something unique that makes us who we are.
Yeah, love it.
Suzanne?
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciated that. Although I really love all of your slideshows, John, and everything that you celebrate. It's neat to see teachers in those presentations from that perspective. I thought that was very inspiring.
Well, there's so many wonderful parts of our school that attach our community to this school through our teachers, right? It would be, I wish we could have a standing gag where we're just, every month you bring in, Maureen Weiner, tell us about Rumpus in the Rainforest. You know what I mean? Like, all these things that we do so well, they're done from that side of the podium. Yeah, it would be cool to bring in those types of presentations.
It would make them feel very special to be asked.
Yeah, yeah.
Zachary?
Thank you for the information about the staff turnover, 20%, and what goes into that, right? I mean, it's stuff beyond our control and all that, so that was really helpful.
Oh, thanks.
What worked well for me was having you all here, and having the agenda packet largely ready for you so that hopefully you felt like you were prepared to.
Yeah, I was going to say what worked well for me was I really enjoyed Steve's writing. I like the way he writes. I think he's funny, he's smart. And I think the budget, our fiduciary oversight is our primary function as a board, right? I mean, like that's the one thing, let's not mess that up, right? And so Steve makes it so followable. So your work to prepare us to be in the room is what makes this season work well for me. AW plan?
Esports all day long. It was fun to see. We see Roland in a very different way, but to see him here tonight shining, I was
So
texting
good.
Miss Block, like it's really fun to see him just shine.
Yeah.
With something he's very passionate about. It's fun.
Yeah. So,
Thank you, Steve, for taking care of us and knowing all the things that I don't need to know. And explaining it all to us, too.
That's usually my celebration. Thanks, Steve.
It always works well for me when we're doing budget or comp or something where we can bring what we nerd out over in finance every month to the board. So because I try to keep my updates short because they either have to be really short or really long, and nobody wants really long. So I feel like it gives the board a chance to see what we actually do.
yeah.
And why we can never do it in the hour.
In the hour.
Right.
Amber?
I thought the English language learner progress, it really blew my mind. I mean, it's amazing, and just well done to every single person involved in that.
Yeah, the team that brought you the English language progress, Katie Davis, Jen Kayau, and all the people that work in those departments, are on a multi-year track to try to do the same thing for math, reading, English language arts, in this post-pandemic bubble of students that are coming through. We're seeing early indicators of, CASP scores coming back right now. We're not seeing the lift that we want, but what I am seeing is that team take very seriously right now math PD and, that work that we saw effective for the English learners in his last 2-year cycle. So yeah, I think we're seeing good results. We're gonna apply that same determination to multiple areas.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's good.
And things take time. I think that's
Yeah.
the important part. Like, that didn't improve in a year, right?
Yeah.
We got to see
Yeah.
it over time. And
Yeah.
so, likewise, other things will take some time.
Yeah.
For me, it was esports tonight. Just hearing more about the program. I hear about it and I sign the POs to buy the equipment and stuff like that comes through, right? But just seeing the impact and the multi-year impact and just learning more deeply about it was it for me tonight.
It's very hard for me not to tell you to just go out and buy all the switches. But I'm going to
I'm
hold
like,
back.
how much are switches?
The really purposeful social emotional elements are woven in. If you had anybody else just come and coach your esports, but you got this this Westlaker, like this insider, this certificated, somebody who believes in what we do, speak to a sport in a way that you're like, oh yeah, that's the way we should sport.
Well, and to be able to roll it into electives, where you
Genius.
have students where,
Yeah.
they were like, they may not go out for it if it was like this really intense tryout, but like just kind of easing in.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
And I meant
good.
when I said, Nico came back, but it wasn't Nico coming back. It was Roland, Mr. Eichler running this thing that was like, oh, Nico, pulled him back, right? So it was really Mr. Eichler's investment in Nico years before, and those dividends now paid off and have him come back. So,
Yeah, totally.
Okay, with that, let's adjourn for the 24-25
say
school
explore.
year at 8:35.
Hot dog. There we go. Good year, everybody.
And as a special
where
treat,
is
we
the-
don't have to put anything away tonight. So you all
Oh,
just
wow.
stand up
There we
Turn
go.
off your equipment.
We just walk right out.
and walk right out. I know.
Good night, Paul. Good night, Paul Jacob.
Good night, Paul. It's like, what was that?